Guys, we're going to be moving on to the second step of the logo making process. We're going to start thinking about color palettes, think about color. So I want you guys to start off with taking your rectangle tool, and we're just going to build some palettes. I really want you guys to stick with 3 colors plus black and white at the most. No more than 3 colors plus black and white. So I'm going to start off by building some squares. We're going to build some color palettes to play around with. So I'm going to do 5 because of what I just said. I'm going to go ahead and make these first 2 black and white. I do not have to have black and white in my logo, but I'm not counting those towards my color count. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. In this case, I don't mind if you don't. Okay. Also, I'm very sorry. I'm very hoarse. But I'm going to look at my project. Maybe I think it would be fun to play around with a yellow color. Obviously, for the pencil. Oh. A yellow color for the pencil. I don't want to use that exact yellow. So let me go in here. It's more of an orange anyways. Pick it. It's important to keep in mind let me go back to that. It's really important to keep in mind the hex codes so that your colors are consistent. You want your color to be your color. You want to stay consistent with it. Of course, you can always refer back. So I've already played around with my branding of this specific logo. This is not the first time I have done this. If you're having the issue I keep having where I was changing the color and it kept making it gray, I'm just going to go up here and pick a color, doesn't matter what color, and then I should be able to go back in and edit it. So I was thinking a teal, and it might be fun to have a maroon color. It's definitely a unique palette. Let's make another one. So I want you guys to at least play around with 3 different palettes, 3 different color combinations. If you guys need to, you can pull up a color wheel where you can then go in and pick color schemes. So you could do a complementary color scheme of, let's say, blue and orange. You could do a analogous color scheme. You could do any kind of color scheme, or just play around with whatever looks right. Maybe I want to go for a more neon palette. So I'm going to go with like a kind of a green for the pencil. Maybe a deep blue for my wording. And maybe a different blue for the eraser and stars. So notice how I'm starting off with just squares for my different palettes. This one might be the most unique. I'm going to go maroon again. Not maroon, sorry, teal. And there's not an exact science to this. There's nothing you guys are following along with necessarily, aside from making sure that you are meeting the requirements. So these are my 3 palettes. So now that I've made my 3 palettes, I'm going to go in. So for starters, I'm going to Command-C, Command-Shift-V, or however you want to duplicate. We're going to duplicate our logo, because if you guys remember, in the logo requirement, or in the project requirements, we need a scaled down version. So that one will get left to the side. But then, I'm going to make a few more duplicates. These duplicates are going to get the new colors adhered to them. I'm going to start off, I know that I'm not making any more changes to my logo. This is the final design. So I'm actually going to go up, and I'll just select it all. I'm going to Object, Expand, Fill and Stroke. So now there's no fill here. In fact, I'm going to take a second, go through, and merge these shapes. I know these are my final designs. I'm not making any more tweaks to the layout of the logo. But notice how I'm also going to go ahead and keep an old version. So I'm going to get rid of this one. But I'm going to keep an old version that still has them as strokes in case I decide to go back. So now I'm going to go in, and all I'm doing is selecting all of my shapes that belong together and grouping them. Well, I say grouping, but I'm actually merging, not grouping. Cool. So now that all of my shapes are all grouped together, or all merged together, we're good. So now I can make my duplicates. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself earlier. So for this first one, I'm going to play around with my palette over here. So in this one, I was considering teal. However, I can already tell I'm not going to like the teal this way. But we'll finish it out. It's part of the process. You're not going to like every single thing you make. That's not what I want. Yeah, so I'm actually not a fan of that at all. I don't like the light teal as my color. So I'm going to go back to black. I think black might fit better. I can stick with the same palette still, but I'll go black for that part. So we could go teal for this, since I do like the color scheme. And then I would say probably pink for these. I can already tell that I'm going to have to tweak this color scheme because I'm not actually a fan of that maroon. I would rather go with a maroon kind of like this. It's almost completely red, actually. So that would be our first color palette test. It is almost an entirely black logo. Of course, I could see a variation of this being, and this wouldn't count as a whole new logo, but a variation being with white. I think even if I do the white variation, it should still, because I've got a feeling I'm not going to like this. No, that looks ugly. So I think even the white variation would still keep the pencil solid. Okay, now let's play around with this. I do think the purple or deep blue that I had picked earlier is going to work as a stroke color. I stand by that. I think that's pretty funky. We got our neon color. That's not what I wanted. To stick within our color scheme rule that we made, I actually can't add anything else to this aside from the stars. My bad. But I think that one's pretty fun. It actually gives me an idea, and we might go back to it. Okay. not sure white is the correct answer for that. I think I prefer... Oh, I know what might work. This is going to alter our logo design slightly, but that should be okay. Oh, I need the knife, not that. Okay, never mind. That is going to be silly. So we just won't do it. I mean, personally, I do like this one the most. I do think I prefer this teal, so I'm going to go back to that teal. I don't think I love this yellow either. I think I kind of like a more highlighter yellow, which is rare for me. I'm normally a desaturated person. But... oh, maybe I lied. No, I definitely lied. I like the desaturated one. Nice. So, once we have our completed logo design, I can go in and make whatever tweaks I wanted to make. We're going to make our scaled down version. So, if you guys remember from before, you're going to select a piece, go up here to transform. It needs to have scale corners on, scale strokes and effects on. Then, we're going to just scale it down to about 1 inch. So it needs to say about 1 inch over here. Whether that's width or height, whatever makes the most sense for your design. I think width or height is the correct answer for my design. And in doing so, I'm going to Command 1. That'll take me back to this screen. I think I'm going to drop the up center whenever it's scaled down this small. As well as, I really don't think I want to lose the stars. I think the stars are okay. They're not hurting anything at the moment, so I think we're okay. I'll scale this slightly. Center it in my artboard. Then I'm going to select both. This should be grouped, right? That's grouped. Both are grouped. Then I'm going to hit this alignment option to make sure they're perfectly centered. Now, I'm going to take a square, make it the size of our artboard, Command left bracket a whole lot until it's all the way in the back. And looks like I didn't go back enough. There we go. Now I'm going to pick a color that matches the vibe the most. And I'm thinking that answer is teal. It looks like the teal color works best as a background color. It's got pretty high contrast. And it pulls from our other colors. I am going to... okay, let's tweak this a little bit. Make this pencil inside teal. It's still going to be black and white. It's just in the actual logo, this would be see-through. Remember what I said earlier, if you have this issue where you change the color and it's being silly, you can just change it up here and then go in and change it down here. There we go. Command 1. Everything looks legible. I'm going to move that up a tiny bit. I think that looks a little better. Awesome. So yeah, for the color process, it's really important. I want you guys to play around with your color palettes. Any logo variations, you can go ahead and leave those. There's no sense in getting rid of them because I might want to come back in the future and change my mind about something. I'm going to move these up as well, one next to each, for file organization purposes. Command S, and that's all. Quick video this time.